Second language acquisition, SLA, what is it and how it came to be? What is the field of second language acquisition and what does it study? The field of second language acquisition, SLA, explores how learners acquire proficiency in a second language, any language that is not their mother tongue. This could be someone learning Latin in college, a child in school learning English after moving to the United States from another country, or someone becoming fluent in their fifth language at the age of 50. Note, do not confuse this with bilingualism. The term bilingualism refers to children who have acquired two languages simultaneously and are native speakers of two or more languages. Over the years, the study of SLA has taken many forms and, due to new research, is still evolving. In the 1950s and 60s, the field of second language acquisition focused more on pedagogy, the study of teaching and learning. People wanted to know how to teach English to language learners. In the 1970s, the focus shifted from the teacher to the learner, and the field of second language instruction became separate. The fields shifted because in the 1960s, linguists became more concerned with the mental grammar of the speaker rather than the description of linguistic structures of a given language. At that time, the field of psychology shifted from behaviorism, the theory that our behavior is created in response to environmental stimulus alone, to cognitive psychology, a field of learning that emphasizes the human's intellect or ability to think. First language researchers began looking at children's mental grammar. This was important in linguistics because it gave a clear indication of what people are trying to learn when acquiring a language. The new field of psychology gave more accurate theories about how people acquire knowledge. Modified by new research, the field of first language development offered findings that were easily applied to second language acquisition. For instance, children learning their first language produce utterances that are not just bad imitations of adult speech, as pre-1960s linguistics and psychology suggested, but are systematic and follow set rules. With time, these rules become modified to reflect adult speech. Second language learners undergo similar changes in speech during second language development. Learners develop a type of emerging language called interlanguage. Interlanguage is systematic and follows set rules that are neither the native language nor the target language, the language the learner is trying to speak, but is a system that falls between the two. Just as the speech of children in the early stage of first language development, second language learners' interlanguage is usually simplified in form, syntax, the rules for forming sentences and phrases, morphology, structure of words, and phonology, patterns of speech sounds, which you will read about later in this section, and contains many rule-over generalizations. An example of this is when a child uses the regular past tense verb ending ed, such as in I jumped, to produce forms like I rided or I goed. Often, interlanguage evolves to look more native-like, but unfortunately, that is not always the case. When interlanguage ceases to change before it reaches target language norms, it is called fossilization, which happens more often with adult learners than children, and can occur in all domains of second language, phonology, syntax, and morphology. Additionally, what separates second language learners from the first language learners is that the interlanguage of language learners is influenced by both their first and second language. This influence can show up in the learner's speech as a different accent or non-standard vocabulary or syntax.